The cuttlefish, changing the world. The cuttlefish, Sepia officinalis, is currently being researched by scientists in hopes of one day developing a camouflaging material. So what is a cuttlefish? The cuttlefish are in the class of cephalopoda in the order Sepida. They are related to squids, octopus, clams, and snails. Unlike clams and snails, they have lost their shells, although they still have the remnants of their shells in the shape of a cuttlebone. The cuttlebone is an internal shell that helps them stay buoyant. Marine Biological Association. This is the picture of a cuttlefish. The cuttlefish's life history. Where do cuttlefish live? What do they eat? And how big can cuttlefish get? Cuttlefish live in shallow subtropical to tropical waters. They are found to eat small fish and crustaceans and can grow up to 6 to 10 inches in length. How do cuttlefish reproduce? So cuttlefish actually have both male and female parts, and the mating season is between the months of March and June. During these months, you can observe male cuttlefish making dens and flashing their colors to attract females. When it comes down to the dirty deed, both male and female grab each other's faces, and the male then releases sperm sacs into a specialized duct near the female's eye. So in this picture, you can see the two cuttlefish mating, and the male is using a specialized arm to insert the sperm sac into the reproduction duct of the female. And this is the end result. Cute baby cuttlefish in fluid-filled egg sacs, and actually you can see one has already hatched, and this species is called the flamboyant cuttlefish. And unlike its cousins and its relatives, the flamboyant cuttlefish cannot change color. Specialized features of the cuttlefish. So cuttlefish have chromatophores, just like squid and octopus. So what are chromatophores? Chromatophores are specialized skin cells with pigment sacs present in squid, octopus, and cuttlefish. It allows them to camouflage into their surroundings, and it puts cuttlefish at a great advantage to not only hide from predators, but to also effectively hunt for food. Cuttlefish essentially have a magical cloak of invisibility. So in this picture, you can actually see the chromatophores up close and personal. And in the center of the chromatophores, there are pigment granules, or pigment sacs, filled with color. And the cuttlefish is able to send out electrical impulses from the brain, telling the chromatophores to either contract or squeeze. And this basically either gives off more color or less color. And in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see a diagram. Since chromatophores are specialized cells, they do have a nucleus. And in the center, you can see those pigment granules. So more on chromatophores. There was a study that just came out by Sam Ryder and his team. And they basically studied on how to decompose the control and development of skin patterning in cuttlefish. So their research basically broke down how the cuttlefish is able to control the chromatophores, and they found that there are different rules to governing skin pattern development and also complex behaviors in cuttlefish and how they control their chromatophores to show those behaviors. Really, really cool research paper, basically just saying and showing how chromatophores work and basically the mechanisms behind chromatophores. So cuttlefish also have papillae. So what are papillae? Papillae are little spikes on the skin of the cuttlefish. They're sections of the skin that can contract and create texture. A new study just came out conducted by Woods Hole Institute and the University of Cambridge looking at how the cuttlefish are able to control their papillae. So in this picture you can see the chromatophores, and you can see the bumps and the spikes coming out of the skin. Those are the papillae. And then in the right hand corner you can see a diagram and the 3D skin shape of the papillae. So in a study conducted by Paloma T. Gonzalez and her team, they broke down on 3D dimensional skin papillae and how cuttlefish use the papillae to camouflage and the mechanisms behind controlling the papillae. Now, before this study came out, scientists just thought papillae weren't controlled by the cuttlefish, and it was just something that happened. And it actually turns out that cuttlefish have a lot of control over their papillae, and they can leave their papillae out for more than an hour and are able to contract them faster than a second. So they have a lot of control of their papillae, and it's just another camouflaging mechanism for the cuttlefish. So here you can see a cuttlefish. This is a pharaoh cuttlefish, and it's using its arms, and it's using the chromatophores in its papillae to actually disguise itself as a hermit crab. Now, fish don't look at hermit crabs as a threat, so the reason it's camouflaging itself as a hermit crab is to get closer to fish in order to obviously catch them and eat them. So why are cuttlefish important to scientists? Can you see the cuttlefish in this picture? So the cuttlefish is actually camouflaging itself into the coral reef system using its papillae and chromatophores. So cuttlefish, like I said before, Sepia officinalis, is currently being researched by scientists in hopes of one day developing a camouflaging material, and that is why they are important to scientists. So this was a publication by Northeastern University on one of their professors and scientists, Leila Darabi. Her and her team, along with the U.S. Army, have developed a way to extract the chromatophore and pigment granules and actually weave them into a synthetic fabric. So you can see here, in one hand she has a container of the actual pigment granules, and in the other there's a woven fabric. So this is their actual research paper that they published last year, and it was published in Advanced Optical Materials, and it basically talked about how light scattering nanoparticles enabled visible shortwave infrared color, and they basically took the chromatophore granules and they took a synthetic fabric and they weaved them together to make this camouflaging material. So this is from their paper, and you can see how they actually wove and layered the chromatophores into synthetic fabrics, such as polymer. So they put the granules, the polymer, then they actually had glass and then a mirror, and they stacked those and wove them together to make a synthetic fabric that would basically show color and light, and essentially developed a camouflaging material. So you can see the fibers and then the granule fibers. So you can see the fibers by themselves and after they wove the granules into the fibers, creating that camouflaging material. So cuttlefish are super important not only to ecosystems and coral reefs around the world, but also in the way of military technologies and camouflaging technologies into us. Super cool animals, really important. So thanks for listening, and I hope you learned a little bit about cuttlefish and about their unique features and how we can benefit from the cuttlefish and how important they are to not only us but to marine ecosystems around the world.